Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new version of Magnus Carlsen released in the year 2025. His special way of playing opening moves and choosing a strange and unbelievable type of moves in the opening goes that far that I can probably call him the crazy genius in the chess world year 2025. His recent game in chess.com, especially in Title Tuesday Blitz games, is that wild that we have to take a deep look at them. First, I'm going to show you what kind of moves Magnus Carlsen plays in his games. First game, he plays against Jeffrey Xiong, a strong prodigy from United States. And Magnus Carlsen goes with knight a3. Jeffrey Xiong plays e5, sticking to his own principles. But after a few moves, look what Magnus Carlsen is doing. He's dancing with his knight and dancing with the other knight. And here, black is completely winning. We will come back to this game later on in the video. Let's go and take a look at the other game. He's playing against the FIDE master and he kicks off with pawn to g4. And after that, we can see that he plays another strange type of game. Against Parham Maghsoodloo, a very strong Iranian chess player, when Parham plays c4, Magnus responds with g5. What is this, bro? Are you kidding me? Are you just a chess amateur or you're the genius of chess? g5, and then later on they have a very, very wild and crazy game. In the next game, he has a game against Pentala Harikrishna, one of the strongest Indian chess players in the world, and he just kicks off with pawn to h4. Is this a disrespect? Or he's trying to play mind games with his opponents? Or this is just a way to say that I'm into freestyle chess and I'm tired and sick of normal kind of chess? And you can see that after a few moves, it goes into very strange positions, like it's a IQP position with pawn on h4. Which for sure is better for black, but we will come back to these games probably, but I will deeply analyze one of them. Against Christopher Yu, he is playing with the black pieces, he plays Aloha in defense, okay, somehow normal, somehow normal, but after these moves, he plays another g5 move. He's obsessed with these g5 moves, with g-pawn and knight a3, knight a6 kind of moves. And you cannot believe it. Let's just take a look into next moves. And after this, his opponent makes a mistake. Christopher Yu is another strong American player, and we reach a very, very wild chess position. And endings, Magnus' favorite part of the game. He usually transfers these games into some endings. In another game, he plays against GM from Turkey, and he plays a very dubious line, e5, and we have queen trades, and then he's going to outplay his opponent in an ending. Against Alexander Burtnik, he plays f3. I mean, this is very, very strange. And after very, very few moves, you cannot believe it, but he's better. Once again, he's better. With the white pieces, he's better. He played f3. This is going very far, and he's better at the move 7. In this game he lost eventually. Let's just take a look what happened. He's better here, he's better. But suddenly he took on c6, a bad decision. And he ended up in a position which he's under pressure. This b4, and especially what happens later is that his opponent had two bishops, and this rook d6 and this bishop c4. Burtnik played a very, very good game against Carlsen, and he managed to win the game by sacrificing a rook. But let's go back to the first game. It's a very interesting game between him and Jeffrey Xiong, and this is as wild as a chess game can be. He plays with knight a3, e5, knight c4, dancing with the knight. We saw these moves. The knight comes back to d2, and then he dances with the other knight. And here he's for sure worse. He plays knight c4, and here bishop takes g3, h takes g3, bishop e6 is good, bishop c5 is good, bishop b4 is not a very good move. He plays bishop d2, c3. Now white managed to exchange this bishop, and c4, very good move. And now bishop to c3. He managed to put his bishop on the long diagonal, and he has two bishops now. Probably queen e7 was better, but who can find all of these good moves at a chess game? He goes queen here and queen a4. And after knight g4, bishop b2, these moves, Magnus is completely winning. But the game is not yet over. And let's see what happens in this game. Jeffrey Xiong goes to attack him on the king side. We have a very, very fascinating game. And you might see that, you might think that Magnus Carlsen will just take over this game. But let's see what happens. He plays rook d1. He just plays wild kind of chess. This is not that Magnus is going to outplay his opponents after he's playing these crazy opening moves. No. After that, he goes and play very strange kind of chess. We know Magnus Carlsen is playing solid and slowly but surely winning his games. But in this year, and probably even in 2024, Magnus is playing another type of chess. He's tired of that kind of chess. He's playing crazy chess. He's playing energetic and exciting chess. Here, he's not going to take on g3. He's playing rook d1. He's not afraid to put his king here. Knight f4, queen e7. Now, his opponent made a mistake. Queen g5 was better, but he plays queen e7, going into a fork with bishop b4. But the game is not over yet. Not over yet. e3. Now, Magnus' best option was to take here. Crazy. And then coming back, because the queen is hanging. The bishop is attacking the queen, but Magnus goes back, queen f6. Both players are in time scramble here. Queen b3, another bad move. Queen c2 was better to prevent e2, but queen b3 by Magnus, e2. Now black has some options, and he takes c4. Queen c3, another mistake. Queen takes f4. Now queen f1 is checkmate. He plays h3, check. I mean, can you imagine a5 is the best move? This is the type of chess that Magnus wants to play. Very, very wild kind of games. Bishop takes b5. Now black decides to continue. He sees the opportunity and decides to continue. He says, okay, whatever happened, I have this perpetch. I have very, very good position. Let's take this pawn. Bishop c5. Now black is winning. Bishop c5 was a mistake. Queen takes g7 was the only move. Bishop c5, check. Goes back, check. Knight d7. Black is winning. Okay, white is somehow into the game, but he managed to get rid of this pawn. Excuse me, bishop c6. Now putting pressure here, and after queen f2, black have to come back because e2 is hanging, f1 is hanging, but he decides to take. Of course, queen takes g2. Even queen takes g2 exists. Oh my god, even queen takes g2 is with check, but both players in time scramble, and they don't see that this is with check. After that, black has to take, and this is just going to be over. Rook takes e2, but Magnus even didn't saw this, and he played king h2. Now bishop takes h3 is completely playable for black. But let's see, bishop takes h3, queen takes e2, queen takes e2, rook takes e2, and bishop f1, and then something like rook f2, bringing the bishop here, and this game should be a draw. But Jeffrey Xiong in time trouble plays knight e5, another mistake, but now rook takes e2, knight check, king runs to the g3 square, and after knight takes g1, queen takes g2 comes with check, and Magnus won this game. I think Magnus comes to the point that he knows that what plays an important role in chess is not chess openings. Everybody's trying to memorize, but Magnus knows these days that usually in blitz chess it's going to time scramble. If two players are at the same level or are good chess player, it usually determines in the time scramble, or sometimes about understanding one strategy better than other. Sometimes it's about calculation, knowing the tactics. But chess openings, in Magnus Carlsen's opinion and in his behavior also, because he's playing like that, chess openings does not matter, and he's going to play very good games. And sometimes he wins the title Tuesday, sometimes he loses. That game against Burtnik, we saw that he lost. But at all of his games, he's reaching positions that never occurred, and very, very fascinating and exciting kind of games. And then everything is going to be decided on seconds, and this is a lot, gives him a lot of adrenaline, I guess. And you can say that it puts his opponents under some pressure, some psychological pressure, because Magnus is not playing the best moves in the opening. He's playing like 1000 elo in the opening, but then a beast comes out and he plays like 3000 elo, 4000 elo in the end games, and very, very interesting stuff's happening in each game. This is what we love to see. Magnus is now streaming these games on his channel also, and Take channel, and probably he wants to come up with a good content, with fascinating and fun content. Maybe this is another reason. You can say to us, you can write in the comments what's Magnus Carlsen's reason. He's playing somehow like Maradona here. We have Maradona here. Maradona was playing freestyle football in very, very important events. Now Magnus Carlsen is playing freestyle chess in important events. Let's see if he plays like this in classical chess. I don't see that, frankly, but let's see what happens. Hope you enjoyed this video. If this is the case, please smash that like button and subscribe button. And remember always to enjoy chess and life.